the ability for us to get out. So thank you for telling the story. Questions from the audience? Over here.
I want to thank you also. I thought it was a very important story to be told that I was not aware of. My question is, was there ever any discussions about the casting that Pat did for his films? Who were the actors? And were they queer themselves? There was no talk about that at all. And to me, I would think some of the scenes are so intimate that he probably had to use gay actors, but who knows?
Yeah, he had a few favorites, and we did ask him those questions, and they were, he would, put ads in the gay newspapers, and, it was a different time. He said he never had any problem finding people to be in his films and to be naked. I think in that era, Hollywood was still a bit of a thing, and people were trying to get closer, and I think he just, he was a charming man, and I think people innately trusted him. And he had his a few muses that he worked with a number of times. I think Ryan Reynolds, the dancer, and he had a relationship for a while, so they were obviously intimate, I think, for a while. But yeah, I think he said he never had any problems finding people.
I love that again too, like when he was saying he's not only like a gay filmmaker, but a filmmaker of Los Angeles. And so you bring up Hollywood as kind of the industry trying to break into Hollywood, but the reminder through his documentary work that, like, and even as a background character, if you want, that Hollywood was kind of a hub of gay life. I mean, just from Christopher Street West to the kinds of places, the theaters that might play his films or other films like it, and people on the street, and the gay life that was in Hollywood, and eventually, I guess, landed in West Hollywood, as well as the Park Theater, which was in MacArthur Park, right, on Alvarado, so an early screening venue for Pat Rocco films. A question over here?
All the films that were in his basement, where are they? Are they the Legacy Project? And then also, are there any plans for those to get released in Blu-ray so people can enjoy them or collect them?
So most of the films that you see in the basement scenes there are not Pat's films. That's his collection of Hollywood films that he collected over the years. And those are the ones that he donated, or David donated to the Motion Picture Academy. His own films then are at the UCLA archives. And many of those, I believe, Todd, correct me if I'm wrong, still have not even been transferred to digital. They still remain on 8mm film. So it's a time-consuming process, and yeah, his films aren't really accessible in any other way through the archives.
It's a time-consuming process. It's a resource-intensive process. That's an interesting question. If there's someone a distributor who wants to dare, it's not necessarily UCLA's or Outcast's decision. So it's kind of a larger question about who's willing to put them out and if that's actually a possibility. But some beautiful restorations. That's a great question. There's another one over here. Yeah.
He must have shot a lot of footage that didn't make its way into his films. Did you go through that footage to see what was there, and is that other footage also donated to UCLA?
Yeah, like I just said, there's many films there and footage and audio recordings that haven't been accessed yet, and we didn't transfer a whole lot of those or any of those. But there are more that have been done. He made 2 feature films towards the end of his career. He used Marco of Rio in the opening credits here. And then he did another travel documentary where he went to Europe, and it's called One Adventure, and it was like a 2-hour feature. So those were released for a short period of time, but I don't know what
Todd might know.
Is One Adventure at the archive?
There is a print. It's really faded, and as you can see through a lot of his films, they're super scratched, and he played them over and over and over they're gonna require a lot of digital restoration, which is super expensive and will require a lot of resources, but we do have a print of both of those features that we want to restore. So obviously we'll work with Alpha to do that eventually.
Brilliant.
I think that was the first time I had seen the Hawaii travelogue film on anywhere, or that's footage that when he's like, or was it?
That's Brazil.
Brazil, yeah, it's a beach.
Yeah.
That's obviously not Hawaii. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
that's
And then-
Marco Rio, yeah.
Okay, Marco Rio, okay. And then, so I haven't seen it, so bear with me. And then, I think this is the first time I've seen the footage of San Francisco Pride. And it's probably screened in LA, but I have not seen that. That's really remarkable too, that there was that much communication between different kind of GLF or gay organizations up the coast, up and down the coast. It's really wonderful to see.
Yeah,
And it was-
and in the parades, you see all the different communities from California taking part in the different parades.
And his work with Harvey Milk was really beautifully documented too. I think we have time for like maybe one more question. We have.
Arno?
Uh-huh.
Do you have a sense of his awareness of his work outside of California at that time?
You mean, were people seeing it outside of California?
Or was he primarily just like known in California or Southern California?
But his films actually did play all across America. He had some international screenings too, I believe. But he was mostly known within the US, at the art houses. David, do you know if they played any other places when?
I wanted to say the
Various art houses. So yeah, he is well known, but I mean, that's the thing. He, in a way, he never wanted to be forgotten. He wanted his, these stories to continue to be told, and he was such a great promoter of his work. But this is another reason why we thought it was so important that we got it out here, got it to the film festival circuit, and eventually maybe get it broadcast, which is difficult to do with all these penises. Honest to God, but you never know.
I'm glad they're in, and you can always work your way backwards. It's such an important subject. You can always, it's easier to take out than it is to try to put back.
Very true. But then what's the Pat Rocco film without some beautiful pieces?
Absolutely. I'm being so bad. This is the second time I've done this today, and this is like the last meeting. An eager question.
I just wanted to know what the year, the year the last film was, and I also have a question for David to answer. But so the year the last film, what year was that?
I had that question too. Yeah, when was the last
I
film?
think it was about 1979 is when he did One Adventure.
And then maybe you don't have to answer it, but what was it like for you to see this? I'm asking. I need those, right? What's that? What was it like for you to see this? Yes.
I have some feelings.
You don't have to share, I just was kind of curious.
I like it, but I can't read the words.
Okay.
David's seen it before. We sent him an early screener.
Yeah, I saw a rough cut.
Okay.
And he told us he watched it 14 times in 2 days. So,
That's a pretty good feeling.
yeah, we decided at that point we didn't really need to show it anywhere else, but it's nice that we can.
Thank you both so much for your film, and I can't wait for more people to see this. And thank you to our filmmakers. Thank you for crediting UCLA in the credits. That's really wonderful too. UCLA Film and Television Archive. So thanks once again for Pat Rocco.
Thank you.